Ahoy! So I haven't actually been doing a lot of streaming lately because I've been struggling to figure out what to stream. I don't want to just be a League of Legends channel, that's unfortunately what I've been doing a lot of my time, besides things I can't stream, like writing. And I mean, technically I could stream writing, but the things I'm writing are like proprietary. I can't just hand them over because they're not mine, like completely. I own the script. I don't own like the intellectual property. So I can't just stream writing those, right? They're supposed to remain at least largely secret. There's reveals that are in there that aren't supposed to be public, all of that. And of course I don't enjoy streaming League of Legends. Like I like playing League of Legends in the abstract, but every time I stream, I end up going like 0 and 20, and it feels terrible, and I have to question whether or not I even want to leave that up. Like I could upload a bunch of highlights. I have like a Rammus pentakill that I could put up there on the channel, but the actual live stream doesn't fit. And I normally can't stream Hypixel because, well, the optimal strategy for chicken farming, which is the thing I'm doing, is just having your chicken pet, which you'll notice I don't have right now, and AFKing on your island with your fortune hoe, sorry, not fortune hoe, wisdom hoe, and all that equipped to maximize farming XP gain, which I mean is nice, but like you're still just sitting there in a box collecting raw chicken and everything. Speaking of, actually, let me just see the collections here. Top 0.02% still. I'm so close to that top 0.01%, but it's taking a while. When you get to the level where everyone's running with like a bunch of tier 11 minions, catalysts, and they've been doing it for days, more than you have, it's a challenge. And some people, cough number one, cough, have been doing it for around a year. So, got the work cut out for them. I still haven't replaced the enchanted eggs because I need a lot of money for it. You'll notice I have 64 million. I need uh 600 million ish, a little more than that to actually optimize the farm. So I've been avoiding that and just uh, saving money, doing bizarre flips, and now that the garden update is out, doing garden. The garden update is active, and you can't be on your island, so the chicken pet thing didn't work. So my main's here, and I have my alt account. If we visit my private island really quick. Uh, oh, they got sent back due to a server reset. Okay, 1 second. I just oh, that's their island. Is it? There we go. It is. There we go. So they just do that with the chicken pet. I have the chicken pet hidden, but he's a blank profile right now, so it's pretty obvious with the plus 200 HP. Um, Found out this does still work, and I couldn't find any reference to the strategy being banned. So yeah, my original account that got banned is here now. It got unbanned a while ago, but I already had this account, so there wasn't any point in going back to it. I, okay. Give me a second. Right. So I still have all the chicken pets here. That's 16, 9, and then the two over here. I believe there should be, yeah, there's one more in there. And I still just have the ghast minion, sorry. If I can get in here. Trying to get the collection maxed out. I don't actually care in the slightest about the drops, really. And the nether wart minion. So we got this guy alone. This guy, oh, right. I have an agronomy stack now. I don't tend to use the inventory stack. I have a mining one, just because like you periodically acquire like tiny amounts of like coal or whatever while you're doing something else, and I didn't want to clog in my inventory. But that's the only bag I actually made for a while. I think I have, yeah, the enchanted mining stack now because I was doing a ton of mithril mining, the gemstone sack, and these two now. Where's the normal mining stack? There it is. I'll put that back. Might as well. Anyway, the garden update is actually amazing. I'm getting quite a bit done actually. Uh, Thanks, game. Appreciate that. Oh my god. So the garden update gives you a lot of Skyblock XP, farming XP, and all that. So I've been leveling up my mushroom cow pet. It was originally level 76 when I started, but it's doing pretty well now. It's not the best in terms of just straight up crop yield because the elephant pet surpasses that. And if you're looking for farming XP, the rabbit pet is better. But if you count the profit coming in from the mushrooms and the strength scaling fortune, it's pretty damn good. If we look at the mushroom cow pet here, look at that. It's beautiful. I don't actually know how much strength I have. Let me check that really quick. 285. I could get more by reforging these. Actually, I think I'm gonna go do that really quick. Let's see. Do I want to bother with stone? Oh my god! So many updates. Okay, reset that guy. This is back. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, cool note. I found out you can actually stack the turbo mod enchantments on one pickaxe, which not pickaxe, hoe, which isn't necessarily the most useful thing because if you're using the mathematical hose, you get more for your individual collections by using the different ones. But for someone like me who doesn't care, and just wants the the farming wisdom and fortune from cultivating and like ease of use from constantly swapping back and forth to meet the visitor's needs. This actually works out very well. By the way, I forgot to open up speech chat. Let me grab it in case any of you are actually talking to me. Uh, did did I get dude? What the hell? Let me be on this island, please. Okay, enchanted melon. So I don't have a melon farm here yet, or on my island, and this is not at all worth it. So you just refuse the offer. Yeah. I'm trying to do as many as I can to rank up the equipment for the Lotus equipment. I don't have the cloak yet. You need to spend 500 copper on that. But oh, that's weird. I wonder why there's so many holes here. I have the replant on my hoe. By the way, that thing's expensive. It's like millions right now. I think someone said it was like 6 million. I got it back when it was only like 1.7-ish. But even then, I don't think I would want one for every different mathematical hoe. That just sounds like a huge money sink. Are there any holes on this end? None that I can see. Okay. Anyway, this is actually like stupidly profitable. Like wheat. Let me see if it's still. Yeah, it's still looking at like 30 coins per. Like it's nuts. Oh my god. I don't know. I need to. Do I have a normal hoe anywhere in here? It's a metal detector. It's a garden scythe. I do not have a normal hoe anywhere. Great. Okay, looks like I'm just crafting a hoe now. This is what the game has brought us to, gentlemen. Anyway, I need to get that reforge done. Let me briefly look up the armor reforges, see if I need to use stone reforge. Skyblock. I know that the strength reforge based on catacombs is for sword, not armor. But let's take a look at this. So HP, don't care. Strength and fierce, 12. Okay, that's decent. Actually, what rarity is this? Uncommon. Okay. 8 from ancient. That's quite the investment. Cubic would be relatively cheap. 5. Still not super about that. Okay, so looking at uncommon, it does look like ancient is the best. How much are those going for right now? Ancient gears. Oh, hey, got some turbo carrot books in. All right, oddities and here ancient gear. Here's okay. What look at that. 2.4 mil for 2 fortune. This is what the world's come to. Does this upgrade the rarity of the item? Yes. So it will be better. Fine. Fine, I'll blow 2.6 mil on the extra wait. Sometimes I randomly have reforged stones already. No, 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 no. Oh right. Don't have turbo carrot in here yet. This one was wheat. Goes there. Yeah, this thing's going really slowly. Uh, I'll just put this back on for right now. Let's go back. You need to be on the island for a lot of the things that the garden does. The compost only works while you're online. Visitors only come while you're online. Plants only grow while you're online. You need to be here. It's just a fact. Anyway, just looking for a lot of things actually. You know, let's go back in here, clear this out. So I need 7 and 5 respectively. Go wheat 2, 7. Turbo carrot 2, 5. Well, let's just cancel this. These are actually really old flips that I was trying to do. And, oh, hey, that was fast. I don't like the delay on these. Anyway, so normally while I'm doing all these farming, I'm actually listening to like a podcast or oh, and I'll just go visit the dungeon over here. I think it's easier on me. All right, we're looking for reforge anvil, helmets, check, chest plate, check, pants, check, boots, check. All right. This is the most extravagant way to get a tiny amount of fortune I have ever seen. uh, at least they do upgrade. Anyway, so you need 40 of what they call crappies to upgrade to the next tier. So I've been working on getting a lot of those. Oh, actually, I should probably set up more side flips here. Yep, you're good. This is how I make most of my money, by the way. I sell eggs, which are shockingly profitable, but that's more of like a consistent, slow profit. Like I made 23 million from a stack of super enchanted eggs, which is a decent amount of eggs to be fair, but it's pretty good money. But like I end up using those a lot to do essentially gambling with crafting pets. So let's look at yep. So these flips tend to have good profit margins and relatively fast speed, but they're not scalable. Like you can't trade 500,000 hardened wood as an example. And a lot of the things just aren't worth making the order for, even though they are profit margins. Bulky soon, I haven't made one of you yet. By the way, I have no idea why anyone would ever sell these for below 1 million, since you buy them from an NPC for 1 million and can't get them naturally. Like it makes zero sense to me, but whatever. Speaking of, let's go do that. Wrong guy. Who is it that sells these? I actually can't remember which NPC sells those. Wasn't you? Uh, Fine amber. Who sells refined? Hypixel. Cars mining 25 to use. Let's press this. Smithmonger. Blacksmith workspace city project. Coordinates 32, negative 32. Okay, so that's this way and this way. Okay, so it's all over here. Back of here? No. Is that him? $132. Oh, there he is. Okay, good. All right. Let's buy. Yeah, let's buy 4 of these. I like doing these in fours. Anyway, anyone who buys these for more than 1 million is just giving you money, essentially. And it works shockingly often. Don't want to do it too much, obviously, but it works. And of course, while all that's going, I'm also chugging cookies. That's also not a scalable thing. You can't like eat more cookies per second or anything. Anyway, that should be more than enough from all of that. What do I have to claim? Please be one of the books. Okay, turbo wheat. Alright, and back to the island. And still no visitor. Next is in 3 minutes. Okay. That means 3 minutes of farming, and I am going to turn on a video. So this is by Lily and Michaela Orchard. It's part of their long-running series on Sylvanas. I'm actually a huge fan of all their WoW content. I don't actually play WoW, but I watched the air quotes cutscene movies. And I actually think they are spectacular, like the story overall. I have problems, of course, but compared to the actual like Warcraft movie, no. Compared to that, they are perfection.
Let it be. Let it be finished.
Y'all ready for this?
So I can get stabbed. I can get behind that. Cowards deserve to be stabbed. Sorry, hypocritical cowards deserve to be stabbed.
So last year I released a video talking about the conflict between Saurfang and Sylvanas, and how with the release of Tides of Vengeance, Blizzard was clearly gearing up to have Saurfang restore honor to the Horde, and how I found that such a viscerally offensive story decision, especially considering which character they were laying on the slaughtering table to do it, that I decided I couldn't play World of Warcraft anymore. Well, now that story is concluded, and I have feelings on the matter. First, and most importantly, one of the big changes Blizzard made to the questline I talked about in last year's video was that Blizzard added an entirely new path to make where you could choose not to help Saurfang and remain loyal to Sylvanas. This would put you on the path of a Horde loyalist, a path that they would be constantly trying to goad you away from by making remaining a loyalist optional. By the way, you don't have the option to switch back to a loyalist after choosing to betray Sylvanas. You're stuck there. Now, for the most part, being a loyalist would mean going along with whatever harebrained traitorous scheme the rest of the characters were cooking up, but like all sneaky and shit, or at least that's usually what Nathanos' plan ends up being. Frankly, 99% of your enjoyment of being a loyalist will ultimately come down to whether or not you like Sylvanas enough to tolerate Nathanos being omnipresent the way he is. Now, I actually don't mind Nathanos, but he is a contentious character because he's been Sylvanas' love interest since Classic, and one of the writers started to project on him this expansion in a way that can only be described as creepy. Either way, things don't get interesting until the last part of the war campaign, where the rebels are lined up outside Orgrimmar to siege the place and probably sticking their dicks in iron stars to prove their honor or something, while the loyalist is inside rallying the leaders, burning rebel propaganda, rallying the Horde citizens, and beating up Eitrigg because Eitrigg sucks. But now we're at a position where Blizzard has to pick a winner, and both characters have massive fan bases that comprise different variations of Horde ideals. Both Sylvanas and Saurfang presumably care deeply about the Horde, jury's out on Saurfang since his honor is so vapid and narcissistic, and embody different elements of the Horde and what they stand for. So outside of just military might, Blizzard has to finally decide who wins that ideological battle, which is going to be a very difficult and nuanced concept to go through, and
the Horde is nothing.
I remember seeing that. Very disappointed.
Or just pull shit out of your ass to avoid having to do that and writing like Rebecca Sugar just after legalization of marijuana. Actually, it's not fair of me to compare Blizzard's writing to Steven Universe. If this were Steven Universe, they would have blighted the Exodar and Anduin would make a speech about forgiveness until someone jeered at Talia, at which point he'd show no mercy. Then he'd fuck his dad and hit on a lesbian and tell us this is a metaphor for the trans experience. And Warcraft isn't at that point. Yet. Yeah, the whole thing about the Horde being nothing kind of just comes out of nowhere, partially due to the fact that we haven't actually seen Sylvanas doing much during the war campaign, but also because everything about Sylvanas has contradicted this. Yeah, Sylvanas cares nothing for the living, none of the Forsaken do, if we're being completely honest, but this whole thing about hope being a concept she despises to the point of serial arson is a new thing for Battle for Azeroth. Most of her characterization is relatively new for Battle for Azeroth. Sylvanas has always been a ruthless character with her own agenda, but she's never been as absolutely obviously kill-crazy as she is in BFA. Hell, she objected to Garrosh mana-bombing Theramore, largely due to the inevitable reprisal from the Alliance that would be largely targeted at the Forsaken and the Blood Elves. Keywords being, and the Blood Elves, which she was concerned about, but Lorthamar, strangely, not for some reason. Hell, War Crimes gave her a ton of nuanced character development that all seemed to just vanish by the time Vol'jin made her War Chief. Starting from before the storm into BFA, Sylvanas just became a kill-crazy psychopath, and even her whole mantra of not mind-controlling undead seemed to just vanish as her goals became simply as much death as possible. This is a brazen rewrite of a character to siphon out all the nuance and turn her into another big bad. Presumably she's playing four-dimensional chess, but at this point it's clear that Blizzard's inability to handle Sylvanas or characters like her with any grace or dignity is going to hamstring that idea. You see, Blizzard has issues with women, especially when it comes to women who have traumatic experiences. Just after the war campaign, it's made
Okay, I want to address that Blizzard has problems with women thing really quick, because I'm pretty sure I can leap ahead on what their point is going to be. The whole like trauma leads to women becoming mass murdering psychopaths thing. This actually has some basis, in fact. Like if you look at Kerrigan from StarCraft, Jaina, and all that. But one of the fundamental things this misses is all of them prior to the trauma were already murderers, were already killers, particularly Kerrigan. Kerrigan was a Black Ops assassin for like a decade prior to being turned into a Zerg, right? Like no one's missing this crucial piece of context, right? A shocking amount of people think that like Kerrigan became a monster when she got corrupted by Zerg, but no, she was always a mass murdering, psychically powered like entity. She was never a good person. She was allied to Jim, who was at the time the main character of the StarCraft campaign. But I mean, even Jim's a mass murderer, right? Like how many Dominion soldiers do you kill during the first campaign? It's shocking how many presumably mostly innocent people you just massacre without thinking. And I mean, with the Zerg, it's really easy to justify it because they're mind slaves. They don't even have consciousness of their own besides instinct. And the Overmind is so like blatantly hostile and like unnegotiable. It's the Gravemind but worse because it's not even as smart as the Gravemind was. I mean, they later retcon it to be playing like 12D chess against like Super God, but we're going to like kind of ignore that because that's not how it's portrayed in the original Warbrick War. And while Jaina is less of a mass murderer like ahead of time, they're still in a war. They're still killers. And everyone involved on both sides, like, it is that, right? There is no question that murder is a thing that both sides are doing. And it boggles my mind that the caricature of Blizzard as turning trauma into, like, super omega violence for women is as popular as an idea as it is. Like, just think for a second. How many people in video games have you killed as a male person? Given that the majority of games have male protagonists, particularly in games where there's violence as a core motif, even games where the main character isn't even given a name, like, I guarantee that for some people, it is in the millions of killed. If we just go into, like, this Minecraft profile, I've probably killed millions of innocent creatures. Granted, most of that would have been AFK killing goblins, but, like, goblins are the most sentient of the generic enemies in this game, and I literally killed them without moving, with no moral quandary whatsoever. So if we were actually in a war, why would you care? Why? They're your enemy. They will absolutely kill you in return if you don't. And in the case of, Sylvanas killing the Alliance, it's not a matter of they will kill you if you don't kill them. It's they've already killed you at least once. And they will continue to do that, and all of your friends. and everyone even vaguely like you, since, you know, undead and the Alliance. Ugh. Where is the amorality in being a mass murderer at that point? Where is the quandary in slaughtering the Alliance? Where is it, really? There's some members of the Alliance that I don't think should be killed, or some that are, you know, tangentially allied with them. Cough, Illidan, cough, cough. But, like, as a whole, no! Screw the Alliance. The amount of innocent blood on the Alliance's hands in comparison to the Horde is absurd. And most of the members of the Alliance are people who were brought into the Horde because of the rampant slaughter of the Alliance. The Forsaken, the Blood Elves, the Goblins. I don't actually remember what their faction was called, because, again, I don't play World of Warcraft. Like, all of them are being led to the Horde by the Alliance. The only ones that aren't are the original Horde. You know, the Tauren, the Orcs, and the Trolls. And they get along with the Alliance entirely on, like, semi along with the Alliance, entirely on the basis that, like, they don't have genocides between them. The humans tried, in the Alliance, they tried to do a genocide, and they failed. Because the Orcs are actually, like, in lore, way more powerful than the individual people on the Alliance's side. Like, the humans just kind of suck. Overall, like, they just do. Compared to every other race and faction, they just suck. They have to rely on the power of their extra-dimensional gods and the light and all that other horrid crap. Which gets called out in canon as being essentially evil. Cough Illidan destroying the... I don't really think this needs to be belabored past this, but the point I'm trying to make is I think they're drawing a false connection here. Or going to draw a false connection.
War campaign, it's made clear that Tyrande has become obsessed with vengeance for Teldrassil and isn't answering the Alliance's letters.
Oh boy,
kind of I can't imagine how she'll feel when she's informed the war is over and we have to be friends now. From Miss of Pandaria onward, Jaina went from a Steven-esque pacifist to a bloodthirsty anti-Horde zealot after the Horde bombed Theramore and killed everybody there. A traumatic change that will last until Battle for Azeroth, where she was given a character arc of just forgive and all her troubles went away. Characters like this are all over Blizzard's games, like Widowmaker and Kerrigan, who have traumatic experiences and turn into blithering psychopaths as a result, and Sylvanas is ground zero for that kind of character, and they've always handled her in very mixed ways. Typically, she's just a hanger-on for the Horde until it's time for the Horde to do something dumb, in which case she seems to always draw the short straw. Outside of that, she's always been the only competent leader the Horde has, and, well, Blizzard don't like that. BFA was a slow, methodical destruction of Sylvanas' character, to boil her down to a one-dimensional shell of her former self, and villainize her just like Blizzard always does to women in positions of power. And the fact that the fanbase split over this decision proves that there is a limit to how much bullshit people will take in regards to Blizzard just throwing away beloved characters. The Burning Crusade turned Kael'thas, Lady Vash, and Illidan into villains just because it would be fun to be a raid boss, which they then had to backpedal when it came time to do a Burning Legion expansion. There were some people who liked Garrosh, and he actually had some interesting character development in Cataclysm, but nope, time to be a villain because the expansion needs a plot, and then comes BFA, and Blizzard set themselves up to do the same thing they've always done. The problem is that they didn't just pick any old fan favorite character like Kael'thas, they picked the fan-favorite character. Sylvanas wasn't just any old popular legacy character, she remains one of the most beloved characters in the entire franchise due to her story, her complex character design, and various other reasons. The player base wasn't just going to accept the destruction of what would likely be their favorite character lying down, and this story decision remained the most controversial story decision in the history of the game, especially when it was being done for the express purpose of a meme character, sorry, 3 meme characters, being able to harp on and on about honor as if it actually means anything.
No, this is the Horde, led by you. Someone who has
honor. I've never known honor.
And what the fuck is the point of all this?
I can't speak for anyone else, but my decision to remain a loyalist was born purely out of stubbornness. It was entirely a resistance to this story thread and a refusal to play along with it.
I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
I can't say I agree with Sylvanas because her philosophy changed every single fucking day as Blizzard grew more and more desperate, but if there is one thing I can agree with, it's the one thing she probably wouldn't have said if she hadn't been written by 3 incels and a Sylvanduin shipper.
The Horde is nothing.
You see, Saurfang challenges Sylvanas to a duel and Sylvanas wipes the floor with him. All Saurfang can manage to do is get a nick on her face, which sends her into the obligatory "you're all nothing" speech, and then just vibe checks Saurfang to death and fucks off. Afterwards, there's a ton of dialogue about Banshee loyalists needing to be forgiven by everyone because Sylvanas tricked us all. And there's the problem. You see, Sylvanas was the designated villain of BFA, but she wasn't the only one. Most of the Horde leadership stood by and let everything happen, or worse, actively conspired to make it happen. The burning of Teldrassil, the big "oh look how far Sylvanas has gone" moment, only happens because of everything Saurfang does. You know Sylvanas' whole thing about destroying hope? Yeah, that's Saurfang's idea. It was his idea to invade Darkshore, occupy Teldrassil, and kill the Night Elf leaders to inflict a wound that would never heal. That losing their city and their leaders would destroy the Night Elves as a nation, destroying their hope. This was all Saurfang's plan that he gave to Sylvanas, and worse even, it was his idea to use rogues to butcher the Night Elf people, military and civilian alike, to sow chaos and aid the Horde in battle. And when you read all of that, you'd at first think, oh, this is Sylvanas' plan. But no, it was Saurfang. And then Saurfang choked. The whole war was to destroy the Night Elf's hope, and the most important part of that being killing Malfurion. Saurfang refused to do it because it wasn't honorable. So far, this war had included razing the land, killing the spirits, tearing apart ancients, killing civilians in brutal and gruesome ways, and pretty much attacking as out of the blue as humanly possible, and with as much subterfuge as possible. And now it's suddenly not honorable? We can kill these civilians, but not those civilians, because they're like over there and shit. So obviously the plan is a failure because Saurfang couldn't do the most important yet hardest to fail part. Had he not been overcome with a random burst of honor, the tree would still be standing because the mission would have been a success, and he knows this. That's why he tried to kill himself. Sylvanas has been a scapegoat the entire time. Saurfang died as he lived, denying his role in Teldrassil. Shit like this and his vapid narcissistic honor is what made him so difficult to actually sympathize with. Saurfang is the least likable, least sympathetic, most disgustingly written character in an expansion where one of the writers was projecting onto Nathanos.
Get to the kings now.
And for most of the Horde, this wasn't a problem. Bane had his moral event Horizon moment because Derek Proudmoore was being psychologically conditioned. Lorthamar had this because Sylvanas was going to execute Bane for treason. None of them mentioned Teldrassil at all. And now the Horde is about to pull that just following orders crap just because it's easier for Blizzard to scapegoat the current war chief than to deal with the implications of their own writing. As a result, the Horde leadership doesn't fucking stand for anything. Their acts of rebellion are random and show no consistency. Saurfang is okay with murdering civilians until he randomly decides he isn't. Bane is okay with all of that, but not okay with mental subjugation of a single person. Lorthamar is okay with all of that, but not killing someone he knows. Thrall doesn't give a flying fuck about any of that, but he does care if the assassins come after him specifically. The Maghar don't care about any of that, but they do care that the war chief called the Horde nothing. Except she's right. The Horde stands for nothing. The Horde believes nothing. The Horde will do or be whatever Blizzard needs it to be for their next expansion. And the next time Blizzard wants to stoke the fires of Alliance versus Horde, the Horde will be all about conquest again, until players complain about being the bad guy, and then the next war chief will be scapegoated, and the Horde will be all about honor again. The Horde will be whatever Blizzard decides it is this week. The Horde is nothing. So yeah, safe to say I still remain staunchly in favor of Sylvanas because the way the game scapegoats her for the consistent actions of the Horde and pretends that this is breaking the cycle is so fucking stupid, and I do not want to play along with it. So at this point, I will stand the Banshee Queen until Blizzard retcons this whole fucking expansion and deflanderizes Sylvanas back into the ruthless but overall good aligned character she was supposed to be, and get off this Horde is nothing bullshit. That's such a fucking cop-out. I mean, it goes against everything about Sylvanas and was clearly only done as a last-ditch effort to sway people, but Blizzard didn't get that we stand.
I don't know if I buy that she's a good person. One of the fundamental things that I believe regarding being a good person is you have to have some kind of moral code that you were unwilling to bend. Now, I don't necessarily mean you have to have a completely inflexible set of morals. I mean that there have to be some things you cannot waver on in order to be a good person. What those are, I mean, you can disagree with me if you choose, but they kind of have to be there. Because if you're willing to do anything for the good of what you perceive to be the good of everyone, you will inevitably commit atrocities. It's going to happen. The default that I ascribe to this is bodily autonomy. For those of you unfamiliar with the term, it essentially means I will not screw with your body. I will not take organs from you. I will not force medical treatment on you if you are dying. I respect your independence as an entity. And I believe in other functional moral absolutes, but this is the only one I believe is completely non-negotiable. And I don't believe that it is possible to be a good person without respecting that. And Sylvanas does not. Sylvanas has a very utilitarian view of what is good. And while I'm generally in favor of utilitarianism, it can be taken too far very easily. Very, very easily. Now, the trolley problem is the classic example, and there's arguments different ways. The version I prefer to use to debunk the morality of utilitarianism is different, and it has to do with saving lives by harvesting organs. It is very possible, in fact, it is easy to produce more lived years by killing one person and harvesting their organs to give the positive results of that to possibly dozens, but more likely like 8 people. We can give your eyes away, your kidneys away, your liver away, your heart away, your lungs away. And it's best to do this with healthy people because they're statistically more likely to have workable organs. If we kill a smoker and harvest their organs, their lungs are probably trashed, as would be most of their circulatory system. And I mean, who knows what other damage there is throughout their body. People who don't exercise a lot and get very, very fat, their liver, their heart, like a bunch of their organs are fucking just way less viable. And granted, you can still use a sloppy heart for someone else, but like it's not going to be as good. So, the utilitarian ideal here would require specifically harvesting healthy people to the benefit of those who are unhealthy. And granted, it's more complicated than that. You'd have to do more to actually meet the utilitarian ideal because waste not is a part of that. You'd want to not give it to the least healthy people, but essentially you'd be propping up the middle at the expense of those at the top. When health is something that you, as an individual, can grant yourself. You can lose weight, you can choose not to smoke, not to eat shitty food. There's some things you can't control, granted. And, we should be trying to remedy that. But utilitarianism just doesn't work if you use it exclusively, if that is your only point. And in order to refute it, you need to have some other absolute that takes precedence. And on that list, I nominate bodily autonomy. Essentially, you can volunteer to donate all of your organs while you're alive. I would not suggest doing that. But you can. Most won't. But doing it while you're dead, sure. If causing people, it just bypasses a lot of problems. You can't move people into community homes without their consent. You can't force diets upon them, even to their benefit, that kind of thing. You can persuade them but you would be unable to force anything upon people. And I think that ideal alone would prevent a lot of suffering. When phrasing. I have to do a lot of work phrasing these things because a lot of people fundamentally disagree because they have different goals. They have a different thing that they want to achieve, as it were. And some of those don't deserve any respect. But a lot of them do, and I don't want to come off as like a complete asshole, right? That's not my goal here. But long story short, I don't think Sylvanas is a good aligned person. I think that they accomplish a lot of good in the long run through their less than pleasant means, but they aren't a good person. There's actually a lot of people who do things like that. Probably my favorite villain of all time, even though I don't really like the show very much, Noxamilion the Watchmaker from Wakfu. And he's part of my my ongoing argument that there's pretty much nothing you could do that, given context, wouldn't be possible to make redeemable. Because he commits genocide. And I can understand where he's from, where he's coming from. Now, that's going to need a lot of qualification, so I'm going to fully explain my point here. I did want to make a video on this at some point, and I'll probably still do that. But Maximilian is a inventor who gets obsessed with his work on a magic artifact, a cube, which grants wondrous powers and is generally just like this amazing like one ring situation where it like makes you focus on it. It's not actually evil like the One Ring blatantly was, but it does induce obsession in the people who possess it. And, you know, he ends up, you know, pulling away from his family to focus on his research, and they end up leaving him, and in leaving him, they go somewhere and get killed, and he only finds out about this way later, and, you know, he wants to get his family back, he breaks away from his obsession, temporarily, until the cube what was the right word? Tempts him with the ability to rewind time. And this is something that he can't actually do. He uses the magic energy in the setting, Wakfu, of course that's what the show's named, which you can think of as a soul power. And he becomes a Zeno, someone who can use Wakfu to manipulate time. Now, as an individual with his actual Wakfu, he couldn't actually rewind time, even using the help of the cube. But he can almost freeze it, he can accelerate it, he can do a fair number of things. And using Wakfu to power machines, he's able to harvest a lot of it, with the eventual plan to build a giant machine to rewind time. Over the course of the next, like, I guess 200 years, he kills a lot of people and trees and whatever else he can get his hands on to power his giant machines and gain shitloads of Wakfu. The eventual goal of this plan is, of course, to go back several hundred years, undo the deaths of everyone that he killed, and simultaneously undo the death of his family, defeat the giant ogre thing that caused his family to die in the first place, and live out essentially a life of a hero back in the past using his, you know, now super advanced inventions and time powers. If his plan had succeeded, no one would remember all the suffering he inflicted, no one would die, and the entire world would be better off for his plan having succeeded. The suffering in the meantime is unfortunate, but I can definitely see where he's coming from there, right? Undo all of the damage, save everyone, you know, and then become a benevolent figure, saving everyone, maintaining peace, and of course, living with your family. He's a bit unstable come the end of it. You know, he's not the person he used to be by any means. But he still holds on to that motive. Near the end of his reign as a villain, he kills this giant tree thing, which you know, genocides an entire race because they rely on it to be alive, and steals all of its Wakfu to finally power the machine. The main character uses his power to disrupt the machine, and in doing so, actually teleports the machine back in time to the period that Nox was looking for. However, in his like rage and blindness induced from the battle, he doesn't actually recognize that he's traveled back in time. He thinks that he's just teleported in space because that is what the main character's power actually is, rather than time manipulation, which is his power. So he undoes the time warp and then starts the machine going back in time. However, with the energy remaining in the machine and running on his power rather than the main character's, he only goes back a few minutes. Yeah, kind of shit the bed on that one. The the failure of his plan results in a lot of dead people, a lot of wasted energy, and a complete mental breakdown on his part. And very, very bad news. And in his failure, he is 100% unquestionably a villain. There is no doubt about this. Now, had he succeeded, even if they remembered his crimes, I genuinely think he could have been regarded as a hero. He would have had to earn that, the what's the redemption, but he definitely could have gotten it. And it is in his failure that he can't. There's no way to make up for a genocide besides undoing the genocide +1. But the fact that undoing the genocide +1 is an option, kind of hard to make an irredeemable person out of that. Well, not sorry, an irredeemable action. Irredeemable people happen all the time. It's about motives. But the action is suddenly much harder to make irredeemable. So you have to judge people by their intention, right? But what if they're just stupid? It sounds like a rather flippant question, but genuinely, what if someone thinks they're doing good entirely because they're an idiot? What are you meant to do at that point? Oh my god, dude, I have 39. Okay, what do you need? What? That's... No. Polished pumpkin. Is that the super enchanted pumpkin? It is. No. No, that's actually a pretty good deal. 320 enchanted pumpkin for that. Maybe. How much do I already have? Okay, so that's 183. Oh, Liam, what you got? God, I don't have carrots yet. You need to unlock plots on your islands through compost, which is stupidly slow. Okay, I need to upload more organic matter. Let's throw in some actually, yeah, let's throw in those cacti. There we go. This would just be excess and it'd be wasted. And then some more fuel. That's 11. Right. All right. Let's check what those are. We got carrots. So you're done. And you are the pumpkin. How's that count? Not at all. Am I still a top order though? Not even close. Okay. Well, that's happening. Oh, there we go. What's the one thing I have to clean here? Manfred. Okay. So now I need to pull out the pumpkin and craft. Yeah, spooky, ominous stuff. It's been a while since I've actually been able to just talk philosophy. Most of the people I interact with in real life don't actually care. Which, you know, for politics or philosophy is actually kind of a sad thing to say. If you think about it, because, like, how privileged are you that what defines society is something that you don't worry about at all? I don't know. Anyway, let's go with another one.
The first two Fallouts are still two of the best games ever. Two of the most engaging worlds and stories ever crafted for players to explore.
10 minutes.
So the developer went bankrupt. The Fallout intellectual property was then sold to Bethesda. There were those who had minor problems with the direction they took the series. But when you shoot a guy just right, his guts go everywhere. So overall, the game did very well. A lot of people liked Fallout 3. Then again, a lot of people liked Clerks 2, so humans aren't really viable as a species. But then, less than 2 years later, Fallout cheated death.
I get the point. There's a lot of people with bad.
Developed by Obsidian Entertainment with a team including people who worked on the original games, Fallout New Vegas represents everything great about the original series, along with all the good stuff from 3 that was worth keeping. In addition to being one of the most incredible games ever made, it's also really interesting to talk about from a design perspective. It's not just a game, it's a flipping game design doctor, and it's here to put on a clinic. I didn't write that line, it just appeared in the script. New Vegas is the sort of game where you can open a manhole cover expecting, like, a sewer level, and instead discover that the local people have formed a cult dedicated to blood and retrofitted the sewers into a fighting arena. Come on, there has to be a boring quest here. Okay, the lady who runs this place wants me to find her some mantis eggs. Fetch some eggs. That's gotta be the most boring quest there could possibly be. Okay, the eggs are in this abandoned vault. Great, looking for eggs in some grey corridors. That sounds... Wait, it's overgrown with plants. And there's environmental storytelling warning me not to go in? Oh man, this vault is cool. It's overgrown and there's a bunch of stories on the computers about the experiments that went on in there, and it's creepy and way more visually interesting than you'd expect a vault to be. And is that... Oh! Oh!
The red camouflage. I like New Vegas.
One of New Vegas's best features is
replay
its
that
ability
game
to
at
make
some
you
point. I played
invested
it,
in
like,
its quests and locations. Vault
years
22
ago.
is one of the
I can't
many
even
parts of the
remember.
world that
I'm
sounds
bad
on
at time.
paper like somewhere familiar, which then goes out of its way to be completely unlike you expect in every possible way. Players of 3 will already have an intimate awareness of how vaults can be, having been forced to walk around in one for an hour before the game even starts, and several side quests also take place in very similar vaults, with slightly different aesthetics and different enemies in them. Instead of Officer Mac, you get Officer Gary.
Yeah.
The most interesting vault in 3 is full of people called Gary who yell Gary at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty funny. On a surface level, it's easy to see why Vault 22 is a more compelling place to explore. It's a bit nicer to look at, with its spots of overgrowth in the halls and plants everywhere, the cave network it gives way to in its more run-down areas, and it's populated with enemies unique to this one location called Spore Carriers, which look like humans but creepily hide in foliage and can't be targeted by VATs while they're hiding, meaning you have to be able to spot them through their camouflage in order to fight them, which makes them genuinely creepy and while the unique aesthetic and cool enemies are fun, what makes Vault 22 a good case study in Obsidian's design philosophy is the ways it creates a strong narrative experience for players and uses its mechanical elements to enhance player engagement with the story. Firstly, just for convenience's sake, the vault can be discovered in more than one way. 6 different quests lead you to this vault. You don't necessarily come here looking for those delicious eggs. One guy wants you to find the secret of how they're growing all these plants so easily, since, you know, growing plants in the wasteland is a pretty big deal. Somewhere on a computer system in the vault are files on how they managed all this. But on your way out of his office, another scientist stops you and says he sent like 10 other guys there already and none of them have come back, and asks you to find out what happened to another researcher who went there. This is a trick the game pulls often with its quests. Even something as simple as download some files for me please is given extra layers of narrative meaning. You're actually being sent to a dangerous place without proper warning, and other people are missing there. This creates a sense of anticipation to the level. The vault has tons of computer logs detailing the work they did, the events with mind-controlling spores that led to everyone's death or infection, and a bunch of new logs left by the researcher who went missing when she came here. And because you're actually trying to find out what happened to the researcher, it's much harder to ignore the story that's going on here than it would be otherwise. The player is also being given mechanical rewards that really incentivize exploring and engaging closely with the material. There's a unique laser rifle you can't get anywhere else in the game hidden in this vault on some poor guy's corpse. The game never draws attention to it. It's not like a reward you get for beating a boss or something, it's just hidden in a corner somewhere. You know, and the genius of this kind of design is that once players have found something like this once, they're going to realize there could be stuff hidden anywhere. Suddenly they're paying that.
Isn't there like a basket? How do you get that? Something you can buy here? Never actually had to get that for it. Okay, we got the Zog. More power. How much is this? Sure. At least melon's cheap right now. All the people doing melons for cash drove the price down quite a lot. Now that I have 500, I can get the oh, put that on. Throw that in there. I still intend to use the Dragon Fuse Gauntlet, but let's be honest, the Ender stuff kind of sucks. And I was just using that for the one farming wisdom. It really sucks so you can't get more farming wisdom. Easily, anyway. Anyway. Oh, you know what? If I make the small agronomy sack, that should work. That should be in, not Bazaar. Collection wheat. Small agronomy sack. It had seeds? Okay. Yeah, I have that stuff already. Cool. Oh my god, they're having a game update. Again. Revisit my own island. Throw myself back in the teleporter. Slash. Hub. Oh my god. I hate this so much. Look at what I'm forced to deal with.
Ben Clark.
Ben Clark. I'm bad at names. Ben Clark. I assume you're not referring to the state senator for North Carolina. Oh, Clark, like C1 ARK? Yeah, okay, I know about them. Yeah, they make like guide videos and everything. They had that one on the dies from the sneaky creepers that you could AFK now. Yeah, I remember. I remember. Yeah. Why? What's up? Are those old? I don't see timestamps, but it also says there's no one visiting or watching my thing. Well, good luck wherever you've gone. Back to my island I go. Alright, I need one leather. Then I need a sack. Contain those. Bam. Alright. And then put those back. Sacks. Put that in. And this should ideally prevent me from ever needing to fill in the holes again. Let's find out. I'll just mine to the end here and see if there's any holes. If there's not, I'll assume it worked. Really don't want to have to keep replanning the individual holes. It's a bit of a productivity sink. Okay. Golden. All right. Briefly, I just want to mention there's a line in one of Techno Play's Hypixel videos about this being a prison server. This isn't just a prison server. This is the best prison server. I've been on several of them, and they kind of suck. A lot of them. Oh, nice 40. All right. It is time. All right, so I need 6 box seeds, 1 tightly hay bale, 6 box seeds, 6 box seeds. Okay, so I need 18 box seeds. That is not a lot of seeds. Not at all. Okay. Wheat seeds and champs and seeds. I need 18 times 160. You know, I'm gonna use the calculator. Screw doing mental math, right? All right, 2880. I'm spending 2 million just on seeds. Let's go. All right. What do I have in terms of wheat? Wow, I feel really poor right now. I'm just gonna do some more wheat farm. No. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 5. At least you can buy these directly. Okay, let me check this really quick. 800 of these turns into so these are actually cheap. That's what this is. That is what this is. Right. Let me just verify the recipe here. And no, sorry, that's not 160. That is 144. So this would become 720 on the custom. Yeah, you're still saving 5 million ish doing it the other way. So I'm gonna just start canceling these. Actually, I should probably start with the deep sea orb because yeah, it's enough on its own. Anyway, I still need 5 turbo carrots. Still need 6 turbos. Yeah. By the way, for some reason, the prices aren't actually linked. So the one is not necessarily like half the price of Turbo King 2, etc. So you're generally better off grabbing 2 for some reason. Like I checked, and it's true of most of them. That 2 is like the best deal if you're just gonna like smash them together to get the max blend. I don't know why this is the case. I would have thought 1 would be the cheapest, but here we are. And it's 2. Might just be a demand thing, I guess. People looking to smash them together, buy ones, thinking they're cheaper, and just don't price check or something. That's what happens a lot in the bazaar, by the way. People just like insta buy things they don't need to. Yeah, you can do that on your own island. If you're looking to actually just build a farm, build a farm. Like people who already have like super advanced sugarcane farms aren't going to build a sugarcane farm here. Or maybe one, so that way they can get the garden milestones, I guess. I don't know, people are crazy, man. I'm part of this guild, Soulless Hotel. I joined it because someone I was talking to about my my chicken plans with invited me to it. I haven't actually done much with the guild, but I've been trying to offload all my excess minions to be done. And I've gotten rid of a few. My Diamond 12. That one's gone. Anyway, the actual guild stuff that they tend to do is like floor 7s and stuff, and I don't have the gear for that. I used to have the gear to theoretically do a floor 7. I never did, but yeah, that's the point of theoretical. But after I got ratted, all I got right now for dungeon gear is more or less max superior and aspect of the dragons. Like those are good, but are they that good? No. I mean, with the Dragon Fuse Gauntlet and everything, they're nice, but the problem I keep running into is that half the things are freaking like immune to the knockback effect, and I have all my experience was doing tank, so having a mage outfit now isn't exactly ideal. I think I'm only like mage 13 or 14, something like that. Not a respectable number. Is my point. Speaking of which, I think it's stupid that in the bazaar you can actually just like point a stick at words. Point a stick. Set the requirements to join your party for your class higher than your own current one. Like, who decided that? Who thought that was okay? Who thought, yeah, that Archer 12, he should be able to require you to be like a mage 20 to join. That makes sense. Mandatory carries, essentially. I don't know. Anyway, back to the video.
Suddenly they're paying that much more attention to the environments that they're traveling through, and partaking more in the stories of the place. You might not really care that much about the story of little side quests like this, but if you know there might be a cool gun in here somewhere, you're paying a lot more attention than you might have been. Some of the quests technically put an objective marker in the corner leading you to the necessary part, but when Vault 22 has worked its magic, you forget it's there. The true beauty of great game design is when all its artificial justifications, quest indicators, loot to find, experience points to earn, melt away, and you really feel like you're in a creepy place looking for answers. Eventually you find the researcher is alive and can help them flood the lower floors with gas and blow up the spores so they don't pose a threat to anyone else.
Good. You survived.
Then she decides to delete the computer records. The person you optionally saved as a result of exploring wants to delete the data you actually came here for. If you already downloaded it, she asks you to delete your copy too, so this mistake can't be repeated, and if you refuse, she attacks you. Even simple seeming fetch quests have twists and the sense of a story you're taking part in and making choices about. Because there's a real moral dilemma here. Do you really trust this guy with research that killed a bunch of people already?
We're with the government, for goodness sake. Have a little faith in us.
You have to be good at science in order to reason out with her that it's probably good to have a record of the mistake so people don't repeat it. What could have been a simple fetch quest to find some data ended in making an ethical decision about whether the information you found deserves to exist. The advantages of this design are clear when you
I gotta check in with y'all.